You're watching Goal.com's mid-season review focusing on the biggest clubs in Europe. Up for discussion, Liverpool and a new manager in the summer. And after a slow start, Pete, he seems to have found something.
Yeah, it's always going to be a season of transition, this, for Liverpool, adapting to a new style of football and obviously recalibration of expectations at the club. They're no longer the Champions League power that they were under Rafa Benitez, and a season in the Europa League, as I said, with a new manager and new players. It's all beginning to gel for Brendan Rodgers. At the start of the season, players looked uncomfortable with the style of football he was trying to implement, but slowly but surely they're developing, and obviously key players like Raheem Sterling are playing a bigger role. The defenders like Daniel Agger and Martin Skrtel, who kick it long for the last few seasons, they've been playing it short and playing it quite well. And obviously Luis Suarez, who for me has been probably the best player in the Premier League in the past 12 months, despite all the on and off-field controversy. And yeah, there's a sense that it is coming together right now for Brendan Rodgers and Liverpool.
I was at the opening game against West Brom and they just didn't look comfortable trying to play Brendan Rodgers' style. And Brendan Rodgers is someone that wants to get it at the back, use his two full-backs and his two centre-backs to get on the ball and start playing and start getting into midfield, where Joe Allen, I think, has done a good job. I mean, I think he's a very good player. Gets it, gives it, gets it, gives it. But they looked uncomfortable doing that. They looked totally alien. It's not something that they've been asked to do under previous regimes. And I think there's signs now that they're starting to get that feeling. Oh, right, OK, I understand what you're saying and what you're asking of us now. They are hugely reliant on Luis Suarez. It's something that they've got to try and get him some help somehow. The question is, who do they bring in? And the difficulty is he's then trying to fit them into the style and the team, because Suarez is the #1 striker. He plays in that central role. Now, some of the names that I've heard mentioned also want to play in that role as well. Sturridge, Darren Bent, that's their position as well. So what do they do then with Luis Suarez? Move him out to the left? Move him out to then all of a sudden you might lose a little bit of what Luis Suarez has been giving you up top. So that's a danger for Brendan Rodgers about who he does bring in. But he certainly needs help in the goal-scoring stakes.
You've played with John Joe Shelvey early in his career. What do you make of him?
Yeah, excellent player. And he's even played up front for Liverpool in the absence of Luis Suarez. It's something he is capable of doing. He is someone actually that from midfield is capable of getting a few goals as well. Steven Gerrard over the years has always been that figure for Liverpool who's bombed forward and got himself on into double figures every season. And I personally think that John Joe Shelvey's capable of that. There's some good young players there. I already mentioned Raheem Sterling, and John Joe Shelvey's another one that can make a big name for himself at Liverpool.
I think the thing for Liverpool is they are a Luis Suarez injury away from being a mid-table team at the moment. Champions League would be a complete non-starter if Suarez gets injured or another big suspension. They have to sign a striker in January, and they have to sign a good striker as well. There's no point in signing Darren Bent just because he might be available and he's got a good record. As Matt said, it's got to be someone who fits into Brendan Rodgers' style. Suarez can play wide. He did it for Ajax and he was really good from that role. He scored goals for fun, so that's potentially possible. But I think a player they really like is Klaus-Dieter Huntelaar at Schalke, but they're in the Champions League knockout stages and he's on a free transfer in the summer. So do you wait until the summer to get Huntelaar, or do you go for someone like Darren Bent in January? Because Suarez has scored the vast majority of Liverpool's goals this season, and it's been a problem for them for 2-3 years. It was Dalglish. It's the big problem under Dalglish that they just didn't score enough goals.
We know they need someone actually, but what the key for Liverpool might be during the next 6 months is keeping hold of Raheem Sterling rather than actually signing a player.
Absolutely. His progress has been rapid in the Premier League, but he's still just a teenager. He's 17, 18 years of age on his first contract in many ways. And Liverpool are going to be no different than any other feeder club, as it were, in the next few transfer windows when it comes to Raheem Sterling, because clubs with bigger ambitions than Liverpool are going to want this player, and they're going to have him in the first team the same way that Liverpool will. And it's just going to be a matter of convincing Sterling that his immediate future lies with Liverpool and not elsewhere with the likes of Manchester City, Manchester United and perhaps even Arsenal.
And Liverpool are worried about that as well. They're worried about Sterling's future. That's why Brendan Rodgers has publicly tried to put pressure on Sterling to sign a new deal. I think he said he'd be very foolish. That didn't go down very well with Sterling's camp at all. Remember, he moved up to Liverpool from London when he was 14. He's not scared of change. And financial motivations, of course, are involved, but just because he's proved himself so well at the start of the season in the Premier League, he knows he could play for a Manchester United or an Arsenal. And of course they're going to be interested in him. He's one of the most exciting young players in the country.
That's Brendan Rodgers' job then, to convince him that Liverpool are going in the right direction. and that, you know, the ambition of the football club is to try and get into the Champions League in the next couple of seasons. I don't think they'll do it this year, but you know, the way they're moving forward and under Brendan Rodgers, I think they're capable of it in the next couple of seasons.
I think the most important thing for Rodgers is that he has had that initial bedding in period that really wasn't afforded to Roy Hodgson. You know, at the time after Benitez left, Liverpool fans still thought of themselves as one of the elite teams in Europe. And under Hodgson, you know, that wasn't apparent. But I think after getting his initial 6 months under his belt, I think it's been a really good thing that Rodgers is still in a job, and I think that he will be the man to take them forward.
And he's doing really well because he's had virtually no money to spend. Kenny Dalglish spent the vast majority of FSG's budget, so he's going to have to do it on a shoestring, but he's the right man to do it if they are going to qualify for the Champions League.
OK, that's Liverpool. We haven't even discussed Steven Gerrard's future, but we're out of time on that one. For all the latest news and analysis on Liverpool and all matters football, keep up to date on goal.com.